And so I'm curious, what were some of the aspects in the more traditional force fetch programs that didn't really make a whole lot of sense, or at least were maybe a little concerning for you?
Yeah. So, I've paid for and joined some of the programs of these staples in the retriever community, and I was seeing some of the things such as ear pinch. My initial interpretation of it was full of conflict. I felt that it was more of an avoidance behavior to accomplish the goal. And on face value, I was looking at it that the dogs were perceiving whatever item you were trying to have them fetch as being the cause of that pressure. And it didn't make sense to me. I thought that there was a much clearer way to show this. And, coming from what I've seen with some of the higher trainers around the world, these guys are asking these dogs to do fantastic, incredible things, and they're doing it with heart and soul. Like, the dogs truly the behavior itself is the reward, and they're truly doing it to the best of their ability and having a great time doing it. And I've seen some of these other dogs that look like if they could slit their own wrists in the middle of this process, they would. And to me, that's not fun. Like, I want to have fun with the dog. I want the dog to have fun during the process. I was in pursuit of a better way. And going back on that, I felt that while I was watching this stuff occur, a lot of these trainers were getting by pushing dogs through their programs, maybe because the dogs just had rock solid genetics and they were able to fight through it and had the grit. But how many dogs did they wash out that couldn't meet the standard that they wanted, that really probably could have been a fantastic retriever or a dog in general, but they washed it out because it didn't take to that style of training.
Right.
And that's where it's about training the dog in front of you. Maybe it works for one dog, but not the other. So, with the pet dog stuff, I've really learned to just have as big of a toolbox as I can and on the fly recognize what is going on and adapting to it. Working with an animal that has their own desires, wants, and needs, it's dynamic, and you're in a flow state, dancing with the dog, trying to figure out how to get them. You're manipulating them to get them to produce what you want.
Yeah. Well, one of the biggest foundations, or I guess when people talk about force fetch or I guess the defense of it is like, well, what happens when your dog doesn't want to do it, right? Like if we're in a duck blind on the Snake River and it's iced over and it's 20 below or whatever, if that dog decides he doesn't want to do it, and then we have to be able to make them do it.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about your program essentially builds the dog that does want to do that,
yeah.
How does that differentiate when we're talking in the gun dog world, where there are instances where, like, hey man, like you have to have that mechanism to drive the dog if necessary.
For sure.
As well.